no matter. It doesn't seem to affect the camera if the monitor acts up. Got to replace that expensive monitor with the cheaper ones. The two cheap ones are working great. Okay. This is Sincere Request. Now, Sincere Request started out as a poem. It was, I write a lot, but some things occasionally just kind of stand out, or the phrasing, there's something about it that seems more poem than lyrics. I mean, they rhyme, so it's not quite that classic thing, but they're right there. They're just a little bit more than lyrics to me. And Sincere Request was one. And it's funny, years later, the opening line of that really resonated with some information I came across. Wingmakers. It was just, if you've come across that site, you know. But it's not where the information comes from. It's how it resonates with you. You know, there's some stuff you read that not everything written 2,000 years ago resonates, you know, with me at least. Even though a lot of the intent and a lot of the focus of the metaphor makes complete sense and truly resonates. Anyhow, this bit of information resonated, and it's centered around being heart smart, and not in a marketing eat your Cheerios kind of way, but in factoring it in. If you think of it as a processing center, it's like, don't let your head run away with the game. Multi-process and bring this other chakra, bring this other dimension of thinking about the world, of processing the world into the fold, into the mix, instead of it being all, you know, behind your eyes. It's like bringing that cognitive chair from behind your eyes down to where your heart is, down to center. And it's funny how you do that, and it's just an exercise in consciousness, but it has a visceral impact. You come down here and you view the world out through here. It's almost like, I wrote a poem last year about that, to the effect that it's like sending radar and getting a signal back on a heart level. It's like instead of a heads-up display, it's like a hearts-up display, letting you know where on that vibrational plane, if you like, on that chakra, where things are and how they resonate. Try the exercise. It's effective. Anyhow, that's the opening line for Sincere Request. Through the heart you can see. Take the strain from your eyes. And really, out of respect of when I wrote that, I didn't rewrite it. It could have used a little rewriting, but it's probably something my 30-year-old wrote, or 40-year-old, and I just kind of let him have it. Not everything has to be updated to the, you know, newest angle, especially lyric-wise. There's plenty of cornball lyrics out there, and if I contribute a little bit to the cornballness, that's okay. Anyhow, so that song, it sat around as a poem for a while, and I thought, you know, I really should put some music to this. But because the lyrics were there first, and the music was simply trying to see where it could fit in, it ended up being very chordy, very idiosyncratic, not particularly stuck to the normal patterns that I would normally play. It's in E major, but it's not a 1-4-5, and it doesn't necessarily, anyhow, it has its own thing. But it used to have this arpeggio pattern it was all about this bum 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 dee dum dee dum ba dum dun dun da dum da dum. And slowly through the years it it became less about the arpeggio pattern, and I actually got some kind of I want to call them jazzy, because the techniques or the textures, the intent is usually from a jazzy space. I'm playing octaves like a Wes Montgomery thing, but I'm not a jazz player. I can hear it, but I just don't have the experience, and I didn't chase it like a lot of musicians that I know. You get good, and then when you get good, you start hearing jazz, and you go, wow, I didn't know the ceiling was that high, and you go for it. But in my case, I got pretty good, and instead of going in a jazzy kind of thing, I got into songwriting and lyrics and all of that. So it's cool. My playing didn't continue to go. My chops didn't continue to develop, but they developed enough where I could do the song. I could just I can write out songs and arrange them, and that's how far I really needed to go to get to where I could tell the story of that song. That's exactly what my target was, what my aim was. So so the textures were kind of jazzy, but I'm not playing jazzy riffs per se because I'm not a jazz player. But I love that Wes Montgomery octave stuff, and always like to walk on the bass, and so that opened it up. Probably could have done a lot of fancy drum stuff on there, but it's another one of those songs. There are two or three of them on this set where the drum parts are really back, very simple, and not particularly prominent. Or even if they are prominent, they're still underdeveloped, metronome like. But with all of the 808s and all of that, my simplest beats are probably twice as complex as any beat you'd find in a top 40 these days, or certainly in hip hop. God, I love the textures, guys. I love the bottom end on hip hop, but I need more. I need me some juicy chords. And some playing, some music, in other words. Remember that? Okay. All right. Sincere Request. It's been one of my favorite songs on this set to work on. It's just the gas. Because it just has a thing, a thing.